In the city, a thriving metropolis encompassing 1/3 billion souls, a man can change his world as easily as crossing the street. It is a place of a million cultures, the world in microcosm. For some, it is their last hope for survival. For others, it is their playground. And for others yet, it is their hunting ground. Isaac Sarason is a talented hacker, a doctor of applied network theory, trusted employee of British Telecom-Sprint. He lived in a world which 90% of his fellow citizens can only imagine. And he has a problem. His health is failing. His job is on the line. His world is crumbling around him. He wants out. And the street is his only escape. What happens when the life you dreamed of is killing you? What do you do when you find yourself hijacked? Colbyjack.net is proud to present Firmware, Hijacked, written and performed by R.L. Ferguson. Firmware, Hijacked by R.L. Ferguson. Episode 5. 8. I dreamt of Janet. She regretted what she did to me all those years ago. She had forgotten about me until she saw me on the street this evening. She told me how she paid fat old Georgie a stack of jewels, enough to run a maker for a year, for my room number and a key. Georgie had resisted until the stack went from ludicrous to insane. She slipped up the stairs and into my bed. She was so sorry. I heard her whisper it in my ear. I felt her breath across my lobes and shivered. Janet whispered, "I'm sorry. So very sorry." I buried my face in her shoulder. The scent of cumin and paprika washed over me. "You brought lunch?" I said as I inhaled the scent. My mouth watered. The mantra of apology stopped. Her hot breath on my ear passed the words, "What?" I raised my left arm and pointed toward the kitchenette. "Goulash. I can smell it from here. It smells amazing." For a long moment, there was no sound in the room but our breathing. Her weight pressed against me. In the dream, she was much lighter than I remembered. Her legs brushed me just below my knees. I laughed. In my dream, I didn't have the wizened college seductress in my bed. No, I had the inexperienced Janet I wished I'd met instead. Then why was she apologizing? Logic doesn't matter in dreams. Somehow she knew what she would do and felt pain over it in her past. I embraced my phantom seductress. My arms ran over her tight back, feeling the runner's muscles tighten as my fingertips ran across her smooth flesh. I felt her inhale sharply as I ran my hands from tight buttocks to narrow-muscled shoulders. She brought her face before me. Her hair fell about my face. Her lips tightened on my lips. Her tongue danced with mine. I tasted walnuts, vanilla, and honey. Good. She brought dessert. She raised herself above me, taking me deep within her. She moaned softly. How unlike Janet, who was always so loud. But such is what dreams are made of. I raised my hands and gripped her tight waist as my body began moving in the ancient dance. Her breath came faster, her voice more high-pitched than I remembered. Janet of the past made deeper sounds, almost roars. This Janet whimpered and moaned. The dream ended as these dreams do, with me curled around Janet, feeling the flush of complete release. She petted my face. My stubble sounded like sandpaper in my ears, whispering, "I'm so sorry." I slipped from the dream into the darkness of a deeper dream, a dream in which black-suited men hunted me among the towers of Terrace Heights. I ran from neighbor to neighbor, begging for sanctuary. I came to Frankie's place. The door swung open at my touch to reveal a tableau of Frankie and his wife Mara sitting upon a finely upholstered black leather couch. The abyss of blackness interrupted my flights of red and orange Russian-style dragons drifting in lazy circles across the couch. Mara held something, a bundle wrapped in a blanket. Frankie spoke. "Sorry we can't meet like we used to, but you have a family." I turned to Mara, and she was now a small girl in a Coach Vuitton running suit holding a baby. Black and green Russian dragons flowed across its surface. It was Nona. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Leo stood beside me, box of cigars in hand, bright blue bands spiraled along their length. "Congratulations, you old dog, it's a boy," Leo croaked. Frankie's apartment faded into the red square. Nona sat beside me, the baby hidden beneath a blanket of active material. Red stars and yellow sickles ran across an orange background. I heard sucking sounds. The baby was nursing. Leo sat across from me with the bartender. He spoke of how wonderful it was for me, how much the family appreciated me, how good it was now that my headaches were gone. I looked at my arms, felt my neck and temples. The implants were gone. I smiled and felt myself in a bed again. Janet ran her hands across my chest, lightly brushing my chest hair. I pulled her to me, beneath me, and took my revenge roughly upon her flesh. From start to finish, the words, "I'm so sorry," echoed through my head. The dream faded, and I drifted in darkness, for that is how drunken dreams are. 9. I woke to a sliver of light entering my room. A narrow sliver cast a dim glow, just enough to navigate by. My eyeball headache slapped me across my frontal lobes. "Must be near noon," I mumbled as I struggled out of bed to the bathroom. For some reason, the placement of the window in the shaft seemed important. Probably closer to 2 than noon, I thought. I stumbled over my pants, then over a second set of pants. I gave no notice. My bladder needed emptying. I needed Maxalt Reglan. If it was noon, I'd missed a dose. If it were around 2, then 2. My head felt like I'd missed 2. I fumbled with the light as I stood above the toilet. The light blinded me. When my eyes finally cleared, I found myself staring into the trash. They must not have emptied it before renting it, for in the trash was a box of Fertile Locks mail and a used applicator. Maybe that's why the room was available. The couple who rented it before me had a little boy on the way and needed another room. I couldn't imagine 2 people in this place. You'd have to leave to change your mind. I noticed an unopened box of Fertile Locks female on the back of the sink. I'd never heard of anyone buying 2 boxes before. Frankie complained about it all the time. The stuff ran over 1,000 joules a box. Even Frankie couldn't afford to buy more than 1. Fertilox was the name brand of the best fertility treatment on the market. It sold to busy professional couples who couldn't get their schedules to mesh in order to make a kid the old-fashioned way. Definitely an uptown problem if there ever was one. The way it worked, the woman applied the gel via applicator to her lady bits. The gel carried an army of nanobots which checked her hormonal levels, forcing her into ovulation if it was possible, and if it weren't, the nanobots would store the sperm until the next ovulation. In addition, the nanobots networked to find the healthiest sperm with the proper chromosome and to make sure only the sperm they chose found the egg. The company bragged in its advertising, though not in these words, that Fertilox could keep the chosen sperm alive for up to 2 weeks if needed. Whenever I saw the advertisements, I kept picturing sperm on rocket skateboards surfing through fallopian tubes while laser-wielding robots wandered about massacring non-skateboard-riding swimmers. My dreams of the night came back to me. The sensual dreams of bedding a young Janet bubbled up from my subconscious. A dim light came on in my mind. I slammed down 2 Maxalt Reglans and glanced at the bed. I saw the flash of a phone screen as it shut down. I saw a long lump in my bed. A lump shaped like a girl, a couple years shy of womanhood. I turned on the lights, all of them, and regretted it immediately. The light sent jagged lightning firing behind my eyes. "Are you all right?" Nona called from the bed. It was the voice from my dreams. I swore as I searched for my Mospa shades. I found them and put them on. Nona pulled the sheets around her slender runner's body. She tried to smile. "Good morning," she said as she slipped past me into the bathroom. She kept her eyes down until the door closed. She said, "Good morning? What the hell?" A miner in my bed said good morning as pretty as you please, as if waking up beside a man more than 10 years your senior was the normal way to start the morning. I punched the square of counter meant to serve as a table. Pain shot through my hand. My headaches multiplied, crossing from my frontal lobes to my anterior lobes. I leaned my forehead against the cupboard and swore. I swore and banged my head until the stars forced me to put a hand between my skull and the door. My back tightened up. I made a fist and rubbed the small of my back. My knuckles rasped against something plastic. I ran my fingers over it, found its edges, and pulled it off. Adhesive pulled at my skin. I examined the flexible disc, a round dermal patch the width of my thumb. I strained to read the text. S-A-N Relaxa. I reached for my phone to look up the disc on the net. Then I remembered that my phone was with the hacker, the notorious Mospana. I thought. SAN probably stood for Sanofi Avantis Novartis, the largest drug patent holder on the planet. But what was Relaxa? I found a disc. I called through the door. Damn, she was taking a long time. What is it? Relaxa, she answered. She sounded scared. Damn straight she better be scared. No one drugs me and gets away with it. A long pause followed. I could hear the pipes in the walls thud as water flowed through them. I heard a gentle, indistinct voice in the air ducts, the ding of an elevator. Which is? I asked. It's used for insomniacs and violent dementia patients. It relaxes you, gives you a feeling of well-being, makes you feel loved. Also gives you wild dreams. Take more than 3 derms, and it's a top-flight hallucinogen. You've taken this stuff before? Of course. Doesn't cause violence. It's a Class 0 hallucinogen. You can get it over the counter. I slapped the counter. I remembered the stop at the pharmacy. Leo picked up something for the missus, something in a brown paper bag about the same size as 2 boxes of Fertilox. I punched the counter. Why do all the women in my life drug me and use me? If she's using me, what does she want? She took the Fertilox mail, so it's safe to assume she's pregnant, and it's a boy. I slumped to the floor. I was going to be a father, and the mother is a minor. Tears rolled down my cheeks. There was a knock at the door. A jaunty, shave and a haircut, 2 bits, broke me from my collapse. I stood up slowly, trying to regain my composure. The rap of the door again, same classic knock. Ishmael, open up! It's me, Leo. Got your phone all ready to go. Leo, good old Leo. Good old Pimp Leo. Predatory smile fixed on his face. I opened the door a crack. Leo smiled at me. Rise and shine, friend. He handed me my phone. All set up. Proxies route you from our little network to your old apartment in the terrace. Very sweet work from what they tell me. Wouldn't know anything about it. Not my line of work. I scowled as I took the phone. Bastard probably sponged off all my personal details. He knew my name, my card numbers, my employment numbers, insurance numbers, hell, every number that makes a man real today. Thanks, I mumbled. You look like crap. You sleep okay last night? He smiled at me with his cat-got-the-mouse grin. He shifted his stance to see beyond me. The toilet flushed. The bathroom door opened. Nona stepped into sight of the door. I moved to close the door. You old fox, Leo said. Got yourself a piece of tail after Nona left you. Nona squeaked behind me. Close the door! Close the door! It was too precious. They still think they can play me. I let go of the door. Leo called out, "Nona, what are you doing here?" He shoves me back hard onto the couch as he threw open the door. He's in my face. "You some kind of pedophile freak? You into young girls? Is that your thing? My thing is pounding freaks like you." He continued for a couple more minutes. I had to admire their devotion to their craft. They argue in Georgian in front of me, Leo's attention fixed on Nona, who he threatened with the back of his hand. Nona pled with him. I stood and watched the performance. I caught a look from Leo, a mean look, the look of a man who knew his performance was transparent. His face shifted to a hard look, a look tough enough to punch through concrete. He grabbed Nona and shoved her hard against the counter, separating the kitchenette from the main room. She screamed as her body crashed into the counter. It wasn't a stage scream, it was a real scream. She curled up as Leo backhanded her. She was on the floor, tears ran down her cheeks, blood ran from a cut on her forehead. Something snapped inside of me. Leo was kicking her. She was screaming. I punched Leo. Firmware, Hijacked, was written and performed by R.L. Ferguson. This work is released under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it. Remix it, re-record it, transcribe it, share it. Just don't sell it or change the terms of the license. Your creation must be released under an Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.